Hello and welcome back to New Mystery of the Emblem, Heroes of Light and Shadow, and this time we continue the VS Fire Emblem chapters with Episode 2, Crimson Dragoon. In this one, we'll be seeing an unlikely alliance, and controlling two pretty awesome main characters. So, the action here moves to Aurelis. Now, it's not exactly, I'm not sure when it's specified exactly when this one is set, but basically at this time, Macedon is allied with the Dolurian Empire. If you played Shadow Dragon, you'll know why. Essentially, Mishalis was kind of tempted by Garnef into killing his own father and kind of got drunk with power, and yeah. But, this episode basically goes to show that, despite being on the opposite side of you in Shadow Dragon, the Macedonian army actually isn't all that bad. Except for a few exceptions, which you are going to be seeing right here. So, basically, we've got villagers tormented by bandits, and they seem a bit terrified to see the Macedonian army. Isn't it obvious they're kind of destroying villages and kidnapping people? Oh, great, we've got another Defeat Bandits mission. Standard early game Fire Emblem fare, really. I actually just realized that Minerva kind of... Well, not really, but she kind of looks a little bit like Titania, and, well, you were with her for a Defeat Bandits mission at the beginning of Path of Radiance, so I guess that's kind of, yeah. So, yeah, this whole chapter basically, two things about this chapter. One, it kind of explains that, aside from a few exceptions, the Macedonian army, despite being an enemy, actually were mostly pretty nice people during the war, and it was, you know, kind of bad that you were against them. And two, it sees the alliance of two major groups of awesome people. Well, they were awesome back in Shadow Dragon. You'll see, so we've got the White Wings here. But over here we have... now, you probably haven't really seen this guy except in flashbacks if you haven't played Shadow Dragon. But this is Hardin before he got corrupted by Garnef. This is back when he was still good, and he was really awesome. He also has the awesome turban, which he lost in this game, annoyingly. Yeah, in the original Mystery of the Emblem, he actually reverted to his old portrait exactly when he killed possessed Hardin, including getting a turban inexplicably out of nowhere. In this game, they thought that was stupid, so they gave him a completely new unpossessed portrait, and saved his original portrait for this chapter. So anyway, now, my opinion, Crimson Dragoon, a much better localization for Minerva's title than the literal translation, which was just Red Dragon Knight. Yeah, that's pretty boring. I am so glad they changed that. Seriously, Red Dragon Knight just sounded incredibly generic and stupid. So basically, we've got some deserters from the Macedonian army, and they're going around destroying a bunch of villages and generally being jerks. So, looks like we're going to have an alliance here. Yeah, at this point, Aurelis and Macedon were actually on opposite sides of the war. Aurelis was harbouring Nina, you'll find out more about that later, and yeah, they basically get taken over by the Macedonian army, and Marth ends up having to liberate them. So, of course, Minerva never really approved of the kind of stuff that the corrupt people in the army were doing, but as this chapter shows, the corrupt people were the exception rather than the rule. Unfortunately, most of the bosses we fought back in Shadow Dragon just had to be said exception. One of them who was a gigantic jerk to Minerva. But you'll see the boss of this chapter is a pretty massive jerk to Minerva as well, so they tend to do that. So, Hardin has two members of the Wolf Guard with him. Yeah, he's got Wolf and Roshi. Unfortunately, Sedgar and Violin will be... Well, not unfortunately in the case of Violin, don't want to be seeing that guy. But, Sedgar's going to be sitting this one out, annoyingly. Now, also, here... As you'll see here, though, Pala is also going to be sitting this one out. So, yeah, annoyingly, you're not really going to get to use her here. So basically, we've only got about, not so much half, but we have not all of the two groups. So we've got Wolfguard and White Wings allied together, but not all either group. So for the White Wings, you've only got Katria and Est. Pala will be off somewhere else. Of course, she's got the worst overall gross of the three, so I guess that kind of is a good thing that she's gone. Not to say that she's not amazing, but anyway. We also get two members of the Wolf Guard. Now we also have here a cut to the bad guy of this chapter, Ruben, which I think is a much better translation than Luben or Luber or some weird translations people did of this guy's name ages ago. Anyway, we also have Frost. Now I'll talk about Frost a bit later. Basically, Frost is the first of the characters, the new characters that were added exclusively to BS Fire Emblem. They were later integrated into the main story of this game, except Frost was probably, he had by far the flimsiest excuse for being integrated into the story. Anyway, he's being coerced into cooperating with the enemy because his family is being held hostage. And as you know, Frost is a family man. Yeah, he must have lost to Guile sometime along the way. So, right, chapter's about to begin. And with a very, very familiar map theme, we have here Minerva, our main character, Est, Katria, two Pegasus Knights, Roshi, the Cavalier, Wolf, and, hey, this guy looks new. Yep, we actually get to play as Hardin before he was brainwashed into becoming evil. And this is the Hardin we all know and love from Shadow Dragon. Back in that game, Hardin was in fact one of the best Cavaliers in the whole game. And here, well, yeah, he kind of shows off quite a bit of his former self. He starts off with great stats, he has really great growth, in particular that amazing strength growth. I mean, seriously, wow, that is, yeah, really, really amazing. And great growth in skill and speed. His only real weak point is luck, really. I mean, and it's got a kind of a low base too, but other than that, I really can't find much to fault with this guy. He's pretty amazing. Not only that, but he can use silver swords and lances right from the get-go, and he starts with one of each. So yes, silver weapons, great starting stats, great growths. He's also technically the main character. Well, actually, this chapter has two lords. You get a game over it if you lose either Minerva or Hardin. So, yeah, you'll want to keep them both alive. But you won't have much trouble doing that, because, yeah, they're both really good. The only problem with Hardin, really, is that he starts off probably at quite a high level compared to everyone else, so using him extensively will kind of hurt your experience rank. That's really the main problem you have with him, so try to let the other characters get some experience. But other than that, yeah, you know, when you can use this guy, do it. I mean, against most of the regular Cavaliers in this chapter, he completely destroys them, and yeah, basically all around, this guy's amazing. So yeah, can't fault you for using him, except again, just be wary of your experience rank. Make sure you let the others get a little bit of experience, please. Now, one interesting thing, with Boa playable in the previous chapter and Hardin playable in this one, that means two of the characters from Shadow Dragon who weren't playable in the main story of this game are now playable in the extras. This means that, if I recall correctly, Lorenz and Goto are the only two characters that were playable in Shadow Dragon that are not at all in New Mystery of the Emblem. And it sadly seems like those two remain that way because neither of them are playable in any of the later BS chapters. So, shame for those two people, they were kinda cool, but yeah, only two characters from Shadow Dragon not being playable in this one at all is actually pretty amazing. So yeah, most people from that game return in this one. This game's got a pretty massive cast of characters. So anyway, I'll see you back in the chapter. Hardin was really the only new guy I had to introduce in this one. So we have two Cavaliers, two Pegasus Knights, a Horseman, and a Dragoon Knight. We've also got a bunch of archers here. You want to lock in their ranges as soon as possible, because they'll get effectiveness bonuses against a huge number of your characters here. Yeah, if Katria or S get shot by one of those guys, they're gone. You're going to particularly watch out for that sniper there. There's the boss, and yes, he does have a movement range, but we'll get to him later. He's not really important now. What is important now is rushing to that village right there, because of that thief. If you do not rush to that village right now, that thief is going to get that village on turn 2 guaranteed. He's got just enough movement to get there. Now what I like to do is, if I try and send one of the Pegasus Knights, they'll get in range of the archers. What I like to do is send Minerva over here to intercept the thief. Why would I do that when she's at my best fighter? Well, one reason. Frost. Now you see, Frost is a recruitable enemy in this chapter. This is the first BS chapter with a recruitable enemy, and the first of only 2. To recruit Frost, you'll have to talk to him with Minerva. Now, it's highly recommended you do that as soon as possible. For me, this will be kind of a little bit later than I should be, mostly because I want to save that village for 50 points on the funds rank. Speaking of villages, you want to leave this one until you've dealt with most of the enemies here. Wait till it's safe, then send someone you don't need up to visit it. Because otherwise, you need your full force to deal with this initial attack. And because this map is so open, there's really nowhere you can hide a tank. You're going to be exposed to attacks from every single enemy here right from the start. And if you're not careful about how you place your characters, you very well could lose someone. Speaking of being careful, when you move Wolf down here, you want to equip his sword and not his bow. Trust me, I made that mistake in a lot of practice runs. Yeah, you want to equip Wolf's bow. Now, you might see I had just exposed S to attack. Don't worry, I have a plan. You'll see on the enemy phase. Basically, right there, yeah, equip Wolf's sword, not his bow. Otherwise, a whole bunch of enemies are going to attack him and he's not going to be able to counterattack. You need to weaken or kill enemies on the enemy phase here, just to take some of the pressure away when you get back to your turn, because Minerva's not there to be awesome, basically. Yeah, you're going to run into trouble unless you kill a couple of guys in the enemy phase, and because of that, you want to make sure that Hardin and Wolf are both in range of the enemies. Also, make sure Minerva's in range to kill one of these axe guys. Again, takes the pressure off. Every enemy you kill on the enemy phase, again, less pressure for you on the player phase. Now again, this is why you equip Wolf's sword, because if you don't, Wolf is not going to be able to counter, and that's really, really annoying. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a problem here, but as you can see here, S takes a pretty severe damage. But that guy takes even more severe damage. Yep, S comes equipped with a Rider's Bane, effective against cavalry, and it totally obliterates them. Est is actually incredibly useful in this chapter. I'll talk more about her a little later after we've made sure to get this thief over here. Right, we'll take this guy down. It'll take us one more turn to visit this village. But now that this thief is gone, he is literally the only thing on the map that can threaten these villages. Once he's gone, you can safely leave the villages for later. Really. It doesn't really matter when you get the villages now. They're perfectly safe. Anyway, Cav Nuke. And basically I call that Rider's Bane the Cav Nuker. It does basically exactly what it says. Katria is equipped with a killer lance. Now she can kill that guy in one round. Careful. She can't kill that archer in one round, so attacking this guy is the best. Be sure to kill those archers, or it's bye-bye time for Katria and Est. They're even a pretty big threat to Minerva too. Anyway, you want to make sure you kill as many enemies here as possible, because if you leave any of these archers in particular alive, or basically if you leave anything alive, it's bye-bye S time. See, I can kill that archer there, and I should probably take it. Gonna need the lance to do that, but anyway. Roshi's pretty decent here. Well, I guess it's a bit more than decent, wow. You took offense to just being called decent, didn't you? Yeah, you're pretty cool, Roshi. Roshi was actually pretty good in the original Mystery of the Emblem. I mean, the Shadow Dragon version of Mystery of the Emblem. Not actually Shadow Dragon. For some reason, they horribly nerfed his speed growth in that game. Speaking of Shadow Dragon, Wolf, sadly, despite this game being set before Shadow Dragon, he sadly does not have his Shadow Dragon growths, and that is really sad. So basically, yeah, leveling up Wolf is less of a priority than leveling up, say, Est. Wolf still has pretty good growth rates, just not fantastic. Well, I mean, actually they are pretty fantastic, but they're nowhere near as good as his Shadow Dragon growth, sadly. Anyway, Wolf can use his bow to attack these guys without fear of counters, which is pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, I made a big mistake here. Yep, unless Harden gets a lucky crit, S is gonna die. Uh-oh. So I guess this run is gonna end up on the fail channel then. Oh boy, this is bad, bad. Oh, come on, Frost, stop killing the enemies. Oh crap, 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 crap. Phew. Okay, yeah, I admit I got ridiculously lucky here, but I decided to keep this run just because of that. That was pretty amazing. Okay, S, you're killing that guy now for the experience. Oh, whoa, that was close. Yeah, I got lucky there. I could have ganged up on that guy, or simply not exposed S to attacks on the first turn. I could have easily avoided that, but anyway. S, amazing growths as usual. Maybe she's related to Donnie somehow. So, yeah, basically, Est. A few things I'm going to say about Est, but first I might have to talk a bit about Frost. Because I have a feeling, okay, making sure no one's in range. Okay, Minerva's going to fly down and recruit Frost right now. Now, there is a very good reason for this, and you will have seen in the early enemy phases. Basically, you can recruit Frost by talking to him with Minerva. You want to recruit Frost as fast as possible. You probably could tell why. Because Frost's only form of healing is a physics staff, which only has 10 uses. The longer you take to recruit him, the more uses he's going to waste healing the enemies. Yeah, that's really damn annoying. Basically, you want to recruit him just so he can stop healing the enemies. The more he heals them, the less time he has to heal you. That's really, really irritating. Unfortunately, I've lost a few uses of the physics staff already. It's kind of hard to actually get there with full use on the physics staff without sacrificing the village. But anyway, we get Frost. The other reason you want to recruit Frost as fast as physically possible is because Frost is the map's only healer. In sharp contrast to the previous map, where we got 2 healers right from the start, in this chapter, healing is a precious and limited resource. Frost is your only healer in this one. And it seems I've just sent Roshi back to visit this village now that it's safe. In fact, this actually ties into what I'm talking about before. You'll see why when you get the reward from this village. Vulnerary. A vulnerary. Are you frigging kidding me? That is all I get. 1 vulnerary. Seriously? Actually, that's not a bad reward, and it fits into what I was just saying. Healing is a precious and limited resource in this chapter. You are going to need all the healing you can get, but you also need to be very careful about when and where you heal. Frost only has 10 uses on his staff. Anyway, I'm visiting this village here. This one gives a pretty much more substantial reward. Really, the only reason I'm actually visiting these 2 villages is because of the funds rank. Each village gives you 50 funds points. And that's all you'll be getting for funds. So right there, that's me maxing out the funds rank at 100. We get an energy drop for visiting that village, so give it to the character of your choice for +2 strength. I wouldn't exactly recommend giving it to S, because she needs no help gaining strength anyway. Like I was saying though, healing, you have to conserve your healing item uses. You might notice there, one of the armors drops a vulnerary. So basically a couple of vulneraries and 10 uses of a physics staff is really all you're getting in this chapter. That's actually kind of annoying, and this is a really big map, nowhere to run or hide, which means a lot of your characters are going to get damaged. You need to really weigh up every turn whether it's necessary to heal or not. Every time you heal someone, think, do I really need to do this? Will this character die if I don't heal them? In that case, yep, use the healing. If not, you might want to pass for this turn, because again, you want to conserve healing uses. This chapter's boss is pretty tough actually, and there's a lot of tough enemies there. Not only that, but it's got quite a lot of reinforcements as well. Yes, this map has reinforcements. Oh boy, you'll be seeing them soon. So basically, healing, precious and limited resource, conserve it wherever you can. Of course, Frost is useful for things outside of healing. Frost, unlike the other two bishops in the previous chapter, actually comes with a Thunder Tome right from the start. Basically, he can take out those armors right from the start. His base magic is not that high though, so against enemies that aren't armors, he's not actually so good. Oh dear, we've got one of these inevitable reinforcements coming soon conversations. Yeah, Awakening really went overboard on these, but they kind of stopped as the game got harder. I guess, you know, to ease you into it, you know, but it seems kind of weird in Awakening to have villains like Gangrel yell out, "Reinforcements are going to attack you soon, ha 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 ha!" Yeah. So anyway, reinforcements are going to attack us soon. Specifically, 2 fighters and 2 cavaliers. Yeah, we won't have to deal with those guys in a while, but suffice to say that castle is going to be spewing out reinforcements. Nothing more than those. Basically, every turn for the next few turns, 2 fighters and 2 cavaliers. Now, the cavaliers are going to get to us first, so, yeah, we'll have to watch out for them. Oh, actually, I take that back. Frost is not good at killing the armors because he doesn't one-round them. Frost, however, can one-round archers, and that is very useful here because this is probably going to save Minerva's life. So yeah, Frost is actually pretty useful offensively. He also has a pretty cool portrait, I'm not gonna lie. So at least he gets some use here. Yeah, he really didn't see much use at all in the main story. He was probably the worst integrated into the main story of all of the BS characters. He's more like just, "Hi, I'm here." Yeah. Okay, anyway, now see that armor whose range I've locked in? He has a Rider's Bane. Yeah, that's gonna make short work of Wolf, Roshi, and Hardin. Keep them away from that thing. Yep, keep them far away from that thing. You actually don't want them to get into this fight, because I'm just experimenting here with how much damage they're gonna take. If I leave Wolf or Hardin in range of all 3 of these guys, they are gonna die. Especially to that Rider's Bane guy. So what I'm gonna do is, see this bridge here? 1 tile wide. This is probably one of the few places in the entire map where you can actually sit back and do the whole lure and tank strategy. And I'm going to do that just for a little while. This map doesn't really lend itself well to the whole lure and tank thing, because like I've said, the map is very, very big and open, and there's really nowhere to run or hide. And very little defensive terrain, except in the forest in the middle of this bit, but it's kind of situated in a bit of a weird place. So anyway, I'm retreating Hardin back here, just out of range of that Rider's Bane guy. I'm going to get the drop on him, yeah. When I get the chance. Anyway, so here we've got Catria and Est. Now let me explain a little bit about Catria and Est. Do not shy away from using Est simply because the Stop Having Fun guys of the fandom have told you she's horrible. In this chapter, yeah, in this chapter, Est is pretty damn good, specifically because Catria joined at the same time, and really Est's only problem in the main story was availability. Here she doesn't have that. It's also not difficult for Est to gain experience. She has Duck-Cav Yuko on her side. That totally annihilates enemy cavaliers. So, yeah, she's got no trouble getting experience. Get some kills with her, and she'll be leveling up pretty fast. Not only that, but using her is really good for your experience rank because she starts so low levels and gains so much experience quickly. So yeah, basically, use Est. By the time she's reached level 3, the same level as Catria, Est will most likely be outclassing her in every way, except maybe HP. HP is Est's only real flaw, so she can't take too much punishment. Most of the time she gets 2-hit KO'd by most enemies, which is kind of annoying. But because of that, what you need to make sure is, make sure most of Est's kills happen on the player phase. Have her one-hit kill enemies like cavaliers or weakened enemies like this. And on the enemy phase, make sure she's not exposed to too much punishment. One enemy might be okay, but nothing really else. So yeah, again, in summary, use Est, but Catria's great too. Catria's not quite as reliable as Est is though, due to her relying on critical hits to do real damage. Yeah, that Killer Lance doesn't really one-round much stuff unless you crit, and Catria's only got critical rates of like a 20%. So, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, a little annoying. So, then again, though, Catria has just as amazing growth as she does in the main story, so if you get her a couple of level ups, she'll be useful. But, yeah, she kind of relies on critical hits here, which is a bit annoying. As for the others, Wolf, well, like I said, his growths aren't the best, but Wolf is your only member capable of indirect attack. Well, should I say, only member capable of indirect attack that doesn't suck. Yeah, both Est and Catria have javelins, but you know how much javelins suck in this game. I don't need to remind you again. Javelins might as well be made of rubber in this game. And of course, they're still nerfed in Awakening, but better strength stats in general means they do overall better damage. Not to mention that in Awakening, better throwing spears are easier to find. Much easier to find. So in that game, you can generally use short spears or spears a lot more. In this game, I don't believe you get any better throwing spears at all. And I'm not even going to talk about that, that's more of a main story issue than a DS one. Anyway, back to this one. So yeah, out of your others, Wolf is, again, pretty decent. You also want to keep him alive for the boss, because he's the only guy you've got who's effective against the boss. As in, he's got an effectiveness bonus on the boss. Now, you also want to make sure you abuse the fact that these armor guys' range is terrible to keep them out of range of Frost. Now, I'm going to leave that guy alive for experience for my weaker characters. Yeah, we don't have to worry about him being healed at all, because the enemy's only healer is now our only healer. Oh, this is going to be a bit annoying. Now, if I can kill all three of these guys right now, which I might be able to, Hardin may be safe. Scratch that, Hardin's going to be safe anyway. Scratch that twice, Hardin's going to be even more than safe, he's going to be awesome. Oh, that's the second 4% critical I got in this chapter. That is, wow. That is pretty amazing. Roshi can one-round this archer, which is good. Unfortunately, actually I'm going to leave this guy for Est to finish off. So, yeah, Roshi's kind of, well, I guess he seems a little underwhelming compared to the others. He's pretty good. He's got good growths really in this game. Speaking of good growths, Est, when did you steal Donnel's Aptitude? Seriously. Then again, that's to be expected of her. Now notice how Est is now the same level as Catria, and is pretty much outclassing her in every way except HP. Yeah, that's the reason why you want to use Est in this chapter a lot. Oh boy, Catria's going to be 2-hit KO'd by that guy, wow. Seriously, Catria, what happened to you? Where was your awesome self from back in, you know, the main story? Ugh, it's annoying. Really, actually, the main reason Catria was so amazing in the main story was because she joined so early. I mean, she's really good, but in this chapter when you have both her and Est, she really starts to pale in comparison to Est, really. Which goes to show that really Est's only flaw, aside from maybe HP, is join time. Est's base stats are actually pretty good for her level, they're just not good for the time she joins the main story. Anyway, we need to get rid of that guy, or else Frost is going to die. Now, yeah, a good use of your vulneraries might be to heal Frost, because he can't heal himself. Of course, you shouldn't be exposing him to enemy attacks anyway, so, anyway. Again, like I'm saying, Roshi's pretty decent. You want to use him a little bit just to help your experience rank. But anyway, okay, kill a bunch of these guys. Okay, middle area is clear. We can now, well, actually, there's one more guy here, but he's not going to be too much of a problem. Anyway, yeah, use that vulnerary to heal Frost if you want to, but yeah, again, healing uses are precious and limited in this chapter, I can't stress that enough. Now, those calves are going to hit us pretty soon. If I put Est in range of one of them, it's going to die on the enemy phase, and that's going to relieve a bit of the pressure on us. Now, alright, I'm just using the vulnerary here. Yeah, using vulneraries will hurt your experience rank, because, yeah, you're basically robbing, you know, Frost of his experience. But, again, he's only got a precious 10 uses of that physics star, so, yeah. Of course, if you want a maximum experience rank, by the end of the chapter, you want to have him use up the whole thing. So, anyway, we got one of the optional conversations of this chapter. There's only 3, and they're all involving Minerva. Minerva can talk to Hardin here, just for some pretty basic dialogue, really. Anyway, to think so many shameless scoundrels would... Yeah, there were quite a few shameless scoundrels among the Macedonian bosses you fought. And of course, then you have Mathis, the shameless coward. Good thing he's not going to be appearing in the BS chapters. So, anyway, Hardin is going to be our ally at this point, and I don't believe Minerva knows that he's technically her enemy. But again, you know, enemies can team up if they've got a common interest. It happens all the time, really. And I guess it's kind of nice to see that. It's nice to see these guys don't hate each other despite being on opposite sides. Again, S destroys those Cavaliers. Speaking of Cavaliers, quite a lot of them are coming in right now. Oh, yeah, a lot of them. Again, remember these Cavs are going to hit us before the axe will do. And so that's going to be interesting because your Pegasus Knights are generally good against the Cavs, not so good against the Fighters. I mean, really not so good against the Fighters. You know what, I said S would get this guy, but I'm going to let Roshi do it just because he's very, very close to leveling up as it is. Anyway, well, both these will do the same amount of damage, but one of them is slightly, well, both these will kill, but one of them is slightly more accurate. Anyway, level up and... alright. Roshi's actually, yeah, he's pretty good. Okay, we're about to be hit head-on by those reinforcements. So I'm going to go with a bit of a plan here. I said there's not many places to run or hide in this map. But, I learned an interesting strategy from these BS chapters. If the map won't give you a narrow place to reduce the area enemies can attack you from, if it won't give you a narrow area on its own, use the edge. This is really going to help me when I do BS3. I've already recorded BS3 as of this time. Oh boy, that one was annoying. Yeah, this chapter's kind of pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Once you survive the initial rush, it's not too bad. BS3 on the other hand, oh dang, I hate that one. Well, I don't hate it, it's actually pretty cool once you actually get the hang of it, but it is, let's just say, it's tricky, very tricky to figure out a good strategy. Anyway, we've got another conversation here with Est. This one's actually pretty generic, and of course you wouldn't let Est go so far ahead by herself. You know, she gets 2-hit KO'd by enemies on the enemy phase, you're not going to expose her to attacks, and wow, that was all, really? Then again, Minerva does get support with all 3 of the White Wings in the main story, so I guess I didn't really need to give her more conversation with them in this one, and boom! Yeah, Catria's really good when she crits, but yeah, unlike Est, she relies on crits to do damage, which is pretty annoying. She does have one advantage over Est, which we'll be seeing in a little bit, and boy, if that guy attacked Catria, we would have been in serious trouble. Anyway, now these guys are all on us, so we're going to have to bunch up on the edge and try and restrict their avenues of attack as much as possible. I've pretty much run out of things to say for this chapter, so I've pretty much explained everything, so let me just say a couple of things. Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to say. Earlier, you might have noticed that Hardin, in fact, did the same amount of damage to enemies with a silver sword and with a silver lance. You might be thinking, what? That doesn't make any sense. Silver lances are obviously stronger than silver swords, right? Why are they doing the same amount of damage? Well, it's because of one thing. Weapon rank bonuses. You might be asking, what? Hardin has the same weapon rank in both swords and lances. Why does one have a better, oh right, okay, here, I just want to explain this. S does have one tiny flaw. Accuracy. The Rider's Bane is not the most accurate of lances, and against those fighters, yeah, it can be a problem when it misses. Missing means you take an axe to the face. Yeah, that is not nice. So, yeah, you want to actually keep the Pegasus Knights away from those fighters. Weapon triangle disadvantage, yeah, I'm going to do quite a lot. Speaking of weapon triangle disadvantage, I'm going to equip Hardin's sword here just to, in fact, none of those guys have lances, so in fact the sword is the best option. The worst I'll be having is neutral weapon triangle, and that is where, funnily enough, I can get this segue to work, the weapon rank bonuses come in. The reason why he has the same attack power with the sword as he does with the lance is because the weapon rank bonus for swords, having a B rank in swords gives you +2 power. Having a B in lances gives you +1 power and +5 accuracy. Now, silver swords have 12 knights. Silver Lancers have 13 might. 12 plus 2 is 14, 13 plus 1 is also 14, hence they both have the same might, taking into account the respective weapon rank bonuses. Hence Hard-Hit does the same damage with both Silver Swords and Silver Lancers. He didn't gain strength, are you friggin' kidding me? He's got a friggin' 75% growth! Oh, come on. That's ridiculous! 75% growth and he didn't gain strength! Well, admittedly, I got a similar growth I found on my Berserker Yarn over in Awakening, and he didn't gain strength for, what, 5 levels? Granted, his strength was like 40 anyway, so that wasn't much of a deal, but still. Random Awakening tangent there. By the way, you can expect me to go on a few random Awakening tangents over these chapters when I have nothing to say. Just saying. Anyway, weapon rank bonuses. The one thing I forgot to mention when I explained weapon rank bonuses in my main story playthrough, that was in, I think, the second part of Gra. Chapter 17, I believe. Anyway, the one thing I didn't get around to is that... Damn it! Stop missing. Is that weapon rank bonuses are cancelled when fighting an enemy with a weapon triangle advantage. So if Hardin fought an enemy with a lance, yeah, his Silver Sword will be back to the lower relative power compared to lances that it usually has. I believe the weapon rank bonus system was actually carried over to Awakening. It's not quite as major as it was in this game, but I guess it's still a thing. So anyway, I've explained weapon rank bonuses and the reason why Hard-Hit hits for the same amount of damage, despite having one weapon more powerful than the other. Right then. So, stuff about this chapter. The music. Yeah, this music should be really familiar to anyone who played Shadow Dragon or the original Mystery of the Emblem Book 1. If you played the original Mystery of the Emblem Book 1, this music should be really stupidly over-familiar to you. Oh boy. Yep. Let me just explain this. This theme here, in the original Mystery of the Emblem Book 1, played for every single chapter apart from the last one. Yes. It was that annoying. It got really annoying later on. In Shadow Dragon, it was kind of redeemed by the fact that not only does it have this really nice remix, but it didn't play for the whole game. It actually stopped after you finished, what was it, chapter 12, I believe? Once you took back the palace. And that kind of redeemed it in a way, but if you played the original Mystery of the Emblem, yeah, this theme, to people who played that game, really got annoying. Because the original FE1 also had the same map theme on every single map apart from the final chapter. Except it was different to this one. Yeah, if you've seen my Arcadia Music Illusions, or just my All Arena Themes and Origins video, you'll know that, yeah, the original map theme from the original Dark Dragon and the Sword of Light was totally different to the one used in Mystery of the Emblem. Even though the one in Mystery of the Emblem, including this one, does have a tiny little callback to it. Watch my, yeah, you can go watch my, Musical Illusions video to get an idea of that one. So anyway, I'm giving Wolf the energy drop. The reason for this is because he's got an effectiveness bonus against the boss, meaning that every point of strength is really gonna matter. He's not going to be one-shotting the guy, but he's going to be doing an awful lot of damage, so I decided to give the energy drop to him. You can't really go wrong with the energy drop. Again, I wouldn't recommend giving it to Est, because she has no problem gaining strength anyway, and just don't give it to Frost. What else do I have to say? Oh yeah, by the way, I don't have any voice acting clips for you in this chapter, because I actually don't have any at all. I've only got clips for chapters 1 and 4 of VS Fire. But, due to that, you will actually get to hear Hardin's voice. Sadly you won't get to hear Minerva, Catriel, Est, or any of these other people, or Wolf. In particular, I have a feeling Wolf might sound really cool. Then again, a lot of characters who I expected to sound cool voice acted didn't really. You'll see in Chapter 4. But, anyway, I've lured this sniper over. Now, the enemies over here, I expected them to all come charging straight for you once you lured one. turns out they're all lured individually, so you can just take your time luring and picking off these guys at your leisure. You want to lure the sniper and take him out as soon as you can, because otherwise... Because otherwise, he is... Oh, come on! Damn it! Because otherwise, he is going to kill one of your, Pegasus Knights and/or Minerva. In fact, this guy's got a pretty good shot at taking out Minerva, so you want to get rid of him as soon as you can. Random note, since I don't think we'll be seeing many other snipers in these chapters, I may have forgot to mention that snipers in this game get a, I believe, +5 accuracy and +5 critical bonus. Nowhere near as big a critical bonus as they got in Path of Radiance, which was actually added in the English version, strangely enough. Yeah, in that game, Swordmasters, Berserkers, and Snipers did not get a critical bonus at all in the Japanese version. That was actually added in the English one. Funny that. Anyway, it's not as big as that one, but I guess it's alright. Better than that Swordmaster +10 hit bonus that I still think is utterly stupid. Good thing they changed it to +5 evasion. Of course, in Awakening, none of the classes even get any critical bonuses at all. In fact, I'll probably talk about this more when I cover Awakening once I have a 3DS capture card. But in fact, weirdly enough, Berserkers actually critical less in Awakening than other classes. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's because they've got a really low skill cap, thus less natural critical rate. They do get the Wrath skill, but that only activates when they're on less than half HP. So yeah, funnily enough, in that game, Berserkers actually crit less. I don't know why I'm talking about that, since there are no Berserkers in this chapter. Then again, these guys may as well be Berserkers with how hard they hit your Pegasus Knights and Minerva. Ouch. Yeah, you want to get rid of these guys as soon as you can. Being technically classed as promoted units, they give you a bit more experience than they really should. Of course, yeah, that's because this game has no unpromoted Horse Archer units. They have to use Horsemen quite early on, in fact. Shadow Dragon, you saw a lot of them early, and they gave an awful lot of experience. They were in fact your main source of training Wolf and Sedgar back then. Yeah, shame Sedgar's not here, but they don't have their amazing growth rates anyway. Again, anyone I haven't specified has the same growth as they do in the main story. So, yeah. Now you want to lure these armors and take them out on your next phase. Yeah, just lure these armors. Ouch. Again. Sorry, I've kind of run out of things to say in this chapter, but the boss will be coming soon, and, well, I'll get to talk about a few interesting stuff there. Nice dodge there. Actually, looks like the Horsemen have Stormtrooper syndrome in this chapter. They're missing all over the place. Speaking of missing, please don't miss Est. Goodbye. That was a nice revenge there. Yeah, Est is getting a lot of levels up, but that is good for our experience rank. I'll explain how ranks work at the end of this chapter, but in fact there's not much to add about the ranks in this one, really. Basically it's just 50 points per village. That's really the only unique condition. The next BS chapter, that has some pretty unique conditions for its ranking, but I'll talk about that when I get there. This one, on the other hand, well, yeah, pretty basic for the most part. However, one thing I will note is, this one does have the most playable characters of any BS episode, which means it's got the highest possible score for survival. That's, yeah, well, of course I keep everyone alive anyway, but anyway, this chapter has the highest possible survival score, so, yeah, and, ooh, wow, Roshi is being really awesome today. Wow, 2 4% criticals and 3 4% crits in one map? Seriously? I mean, I guess it's not as ridiculously stupidly lucky as the time I saw an NPC Anna in Awakening get a 1% crit. Yeah, she only got that when she was an NPC. Guess that kind of confirms the whole RNG goddess thing. Well, aside from certain spoilerific thing in the DLC. Sorry, when I don't have anything to say, I go on awakening tangents. That's going to happen a lot in these BS chapters, given that a lot of them are actually quite long, seriously. This one actually ended up being a bit shorter than the first one, but not by much. Anyway, I'm going to lure the boss with Minerva now. The reason being, this guy is, I think, the only BS Fire Emblem boss who has a special conversation with Minerva, and hilariously enough, that was an expletive they used back in the localization of Shadow Dragon, so, I kinda like the way they use that there. They do have a lot of nice callbacks to Shadow Dragon's localization. Anyway, the boss does get a special conversation with Minerva. He is, I'm pretty sure, the only BS boss who has a special conversation. So, anyway, apparently this guy was already pretty infamous and got kicked out of the army. And he's back and doing a whole... Yeah, basically he's just become a bandit, pretty much. And right now, he's gonna be going on a whole, I don't suck, you suck rant. And this one. Nice lampshade hanging there, I like that. Then again, well, I think, okay, she's already been kidnapped once, but she didn't get kidnapped twice until, Mystery of the Emblem, but still. Minerva is not a buffoon. And, Dastard being an indirect callback to, the use of that an awful lot in Awakening. This translation was actually done quite a bit before Awakening, so that's interesting. Of course, they used that, in one of the Fire Emblem 4 fan translations to kind of unintentionally hilarious effect. Still, again, Dastard does not mean bastard, and it is a valid archaic insult, so, don't go saying it's just a, you know, censorship, because it's not, really. So anyway, this boss is gonna die, like, right now. Wolf, yeah, I could technically attack this guy with someone else for extra experience rank, however, doing that, and then Wolf would kill him, and I really want Minerva to get the finishing blow, just because, yeah, she deserves it. This guy has been a total jerk to her. You read that conversation. Goodbye, General Jerkface. And you have a ridiculously generic death quote. That's kind of funny. Oh well, you had a memorable boss dialogue. I'll give you that. Oh, come on, you deserve a better level up than that, Minerva. And that is it. Yes, this was a route mission, I forgot to specify that. So, yeah, route mission. That actually does mean you're forced to kill all the reinforcements. I would have done that anyway for the experience, but anyway. So basically, now we've got reinforcements. Of course, the cavalry always arrives late. That's just a rule in Fire Emblem. You gotta take care of everything yourself. I guess even if they did, they were just generic blue soldiers. And, well, they would have probably failed miserably. They always do. Except for the 3-13 Archer. Probably the only generic NPC who's actually been worthwhile in the whole series. So, yeah, apparently Hardin never gave Minerva his name. Ironically enough, the music that's playing here was actually used as Hardin's theme on the character theme CD that got released in Japan. Kinda ironic that. So anyway, the reason they want to capture him, not so much because he's an enemy. You see, Hardin was infamous for leading a bunch of slave revolts back in the day. That's how he rescued Wolf, Sedgar, and all the other Wolf Guard, actually. He rescued them from slavery, and that's why they're so loyal to him. So it's kind of sad what happens with them, and him, come to think of it, in Mystery of the Emblem. Anyway, it seems he's got a bit of a reputation, again, for leading all those slave revolts. But, basically, looks like Minerva's going to turn a blind eye just because he was kind of awesome in this chapter. So, yeah, Crimson Dragoon, much better nickname than Red Dragon Knight. I think that should have been on the battlefield. But anyway, well, technically speaking, you can actually have them fight in Shadow Dragon if you're feeling really cruel. And Minerva doesn't die if you beat her in that chapter. But anyway, they're going to end up fighting on the same side for a while, and on opposite sides again in Mystery of the Emblem. That's kind of depressing. So, yeah, I guess we got to see what Hardin was like back before he got corrupted. So anyway, we get a ridiculously brief epilogue to that chapter. And our score. Speed alright, funds and survival I got the maximum score. 50 points for each village, so 100 is the maximum funds rank, and a pretty nice experience rank. And pretty solid rank overall, 571 out of a possible but unrealistic 999. I guess that's pretty good, I'll take that. So, yeah, so ends this chapter, and I'll see you again for the next BS chapter. Oh boy, that is gonna be annoying. Here's a sneak preview. Okay, Castor just needs to get rid of one of these thieves, and... What? What? Okay, I guess it's neither lucky, Castor, or unlucky. Okay, so Ricard's keeping Lena safe, these thieves attack him, he kills them on counters. That's one thief down. Level up. Well, I guess that's the best I can expect of him. Another thief and... Wait a second. No. No. No! No, 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 no! Oh, come on, come on! You're telling me that Ricard died because Castor missed an 87? Ricard, you are so right. No way, this can't be happening. Damn it, I hate this chapter!